production sponsor, Sociopath. Sociopath is a skater-run business offering size-inclusive leggings and shorts designed to fit you. With 7 different lengths and pockets, she is sure to have a style that works for your body. Team colors, custom prints, and group discounts are available. Also offering dozens of armband and helmet cover options, she's got you covered. Please see sociopath.ca/nerd for 10% off your next order. I am Peter here for the first double game of the day. I am here with
Death Nella, and I am calling for Team North Carolina. Peter will be on the call for Vermont. Very excited. And you're right, this is the first sort of follow-up game, right? Because Vermont played first thing in the morning. Woo, bright and early. Yeah. And then North Carolina took on Kansas, and a surprise. It's an upset, really. North Carolina coming in seeded 11, Kansas seeded 15. Great play, though, by Kansas in that 30-minute bout.
Yeah, I think the experience they had last year watching them really helped them coming into this game. They looked really loose when they came in, and even afterwards, they were just ready to go. They're ready to play right now. But so are Vermont and North Carolina as we get ready, set here. I'm going to go over the Vermont roster real quick.
Sure.
Number 1,000 is Felon of Troy. Number 20, Sarah Quill XR. Number 13, Pumpkin Carve Her. Number 2,400, Midnight Crasher. Number 32, Yeti Vandetti. Number 369, Snatch McCracken. Number 4, Ivory Tower. Number 4482, Trasher D. Number 588, Pale Raptor. Number 60, Icebreaker. Number 717, Bertha Blue Blazes. Number 8, The Jessecutioner. Number 9, Busty Breaker. And number 934, Lady Dementor. They are coached by MBD, Blivet, and Beast.
All right, and just in the essence of time for the North Carolina roster, I'm not going to announce the numbers, but the names: Wrecking Bell, The Antichrist, Piglet, Killer Copperhead, Kitty Pride, Smash Potato, Soko Rebel, Assassinator, Hell Hath No Fury, EB Trippin', Commander Cupcake, Hawaiian Puncher, Princess Leia, Uniscorn, Sarcastic Glitch, Dawn, Coyote, and Blonde Crush, coached by Uncle Paul and Tutu LaRue. We are getting very close to that first whistle now. A reminder, this is a 30-minute bout. One team timeout apiece, one official review apiece. No matter if it's successful or not, it's not retained. And, of course, 4 foul outs per skater.
Yeah,
4 fouls, not foul outs.
So we've only had one of those, and that was on Team Vermont, the Jessecutioner, but we are underway here. I think Snatch McCracken on the line for Vermont.
And in red, North Carolina in red, Blonde Crush with the star. North Carolina was in a very different-looking blue this morning, so if you're not familiar with their colors, I'd be right. My goodness, we're starting with a power jam for North Carolina as Snatch McCracken is sent to the penalty box. And it looks like North Carolina is opting for a very passive offense to allow their jammer, Blonde Crush, to pick up lead jammer status.
Icebreaker goes to the box for Vermont from the pack as well, so 2 in the box.
And it looks like the first points on the board going to North Carolina. And Blonde Crush already in scoring position number 2, but Snatch McCracken possibly capitalizing on a bit of chaos there. The North Carolina wall not really ready for her.
And she does as she gets through for her initial pass, the first one there.
Oh, and we had a Vermont blocking penalty too, but looks like we're going to start Jam 2 full strength. North Carolina with 3 additional points there for a total of 7 on Jam 1. Now, Peter, something to watch out for with North Carolina is they had difficulty catching jammers out of the penalty box, which ended up leading to a bit of trouble and why they're in this position playing this game, because the jammer would come out and steal points all the time, right?
Yeah, and for most games, the penalty box is in a different spot. I know that threw some skaters off on Vermont in the first game, and Maine as well, as they go here. Pale Raptor on the line for Vermont, possibly the strongest jammer, and his lead has not got through all the way until just now.
And Uniscorn, who is very well known on the North Carolina bench as the jammer of record, is now putting the star back on. Did a star stash, got through on her initial, as Pale Raptor is being told to call it, and it's called.
and I think she picked up all full 4. Very good job for Pale Raptor. Probably, like I said, their strongest jammer. Of course, with those long legs, it's really easy to get through the pack.
And Pale Raptor as well. I love the rainbow skirt. Not that it's about fashion, but I will call out what I see. Also, thank you for joining this stream. It's brought to you by New England Roller Derby Report. Streaming it here on Twitch. And we have Bertha Blue Blazes with the star for Vermont and Princess Leia, who we got to know pretty well in Game 2 of the day, carrying that star with a lot of pride, picking up lots of points for North Carolina in the first bout. Able to move laterally quite easy through the pack, picking up 4 points.
Blazes has made her initial pass through, but North Carolina did a good job of disrupting Vermont's pack there, as Bertha Blazes is going to come in and both on a scoring pass.
And Princess Leia, like many, well, not like many, she's being sent to the penalty box here. So a power jam situation for Vermont, and this jam will run to its natural conclusion.
Roughly a minute left, or just over a minute left here in this jam. Bertha Blazes through, stayed on her feet there, almost there.
Got by the Antichrist, which is not an easy feat at all.
So we could see our first lead change in this jam.
And a forearm call assessed to the North Carolina pivot. That's number 7-2, Sarcastic Glitch. And yeah, Princess Leia already out on the track. Returning, rather, and now in scoring range. Will there be enough O provided there by the Antichrist? It seems so. But Vermont is letting it be known they are there and they are not just letting someone get in the way. A clockwise block call, though, on the Antichrist. So now North Carolina down to 2 blockers only.
With just about 8 seconds left, so they're going to start shorthanded here as Blazes gets through for her second scoring pass.
Yeah, it looks like Don Quixote and number 4-3. Hawaiian Puncher were out there the most time. I didn't mean to do that.
So we did not see a lead change as North Carolina was able to pick up 11 on that jam, 8 for Vermont, but it is a close score, 18-12 in favor of North Carolina right now.
Yeah, much closer. And North Carolina has gotten into trouble before. They did this morning. They had a decent lead on Kansas, and then the flip switched, basically. All right, and with the star for North Carolina, Blonde Crush, and Snatch McCracken for Vermont.
Has been declared lead, although she has now been recycled to the back of the pack.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times already this morning, so we'll see if it's about trying to put some more points on the board. It appears so, as Blonde Crush is a half lap ahead of Snatch McCracken, but my goodness, the pack is moving so fast right now.
Dude, that is a very fast pack. We don't see that very much anymore, but they were moving. They were in turn 2, and all of a sudden they were in 3, and there goes the jammer for 4.
I was going to say Blonde Crush with a very quick jump over the blocking line, and again lands and bounds, but decides to be safe, gets up and recycles to the back.
Snatch still in control of this jam, but they are playing for the points here. She's still on her first scoring pass. North Carolina did a good job of eating her up.
And Blonde Crush, Blonde Crush decides to skate backwards, ends up out of bounds, has to slow down to re-enter. The pack now stopped between turns 1 and 2, but actually stopped Peter for the first time. They're not just moving at a super high rate.
That was good work there from Blonde to engage, then disengage, and get back in to pick up 4 more points. 16 so far on this jam.
And what an effort by Snatch McCracken as well. It's a lot of jamming, a lot of skating here. 21 seconds left in jam 4 only of the bout.
I don't know if this is a strategy on MBD, the coach for Vermont, but they've run this jam in control of it for almost the full natural conclusion.
And it looks like they're going to let it wind down naturally.
With about
spoke
2
too
seconds
soon.
left.
Yeah. So wow, what an interesting jam there. Both teams earning double digits. An official review being called by Vermont. So we'll see how that lands. Of course, we won't know exactly what the outcome is unless we see perhaps someone in the penalty box or some extra points added, depending on the ask there. But 42 North Carolina, Vermont at 23. We still haven't even reached Jam 5. We have 22 minutes and 41 seconds left.
Unbelievable here. This so far a very, very fast-paced game. Both teams throwing out a rotation of 3 jammers so far. I know there was some strategy talked about after the games, I'm sure, on both sides.
And so we've got lots of comments on the stream. We appreciate wherever you're watching from today that you're taking the time to do so. I particularly like the comment saying, I only apex jump counter derby direction. True story. I could see the value in that. A great blocker technique if you want to make sure that you can draw cuts or just get to the spot you need to get to.
Yeah.
If you can work on that agility, that's top notch. So if you can do a counter, even better.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You know, the amount of skill that we're seeing so far this morning, and we haven't even seen the top ranked teams yet. It's just amazing. So the next 3+ days is just going to be amazing to watch. So make sure you stay tuned to Twitch and Nerd Derby. And as the weekend goes along,
and yes, you did get a shout out for the lack of forward direction apex jumps. Take the wins, take it and run. The other thing I just wanted to mention is, yes, this official review was called by Vermont, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, so we're going to bring up here, so we have one more 30-minute game coming up here in this tournament, and then that is going to be coming up next. But then our 40-minute games are going to be Florida versus the winner of Game 1, which was Maine against Vermont.
Ooh.
We'll start their 40-minute game. Just talking with some of the Florida team in the stands, and they've been here for a couple hours, and they are ready to go.
They've also had some of their fans already watching the stream. We've had lots of people saying, hey, watching from Gainesville, Florida, because, I mean, the best way to get ready for your team is to watch all the others, and you're just jazzed for them, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that next 30-minute is actually going to be Team Saskatchewan. That's the team I
Yes.
traveled with. I'm from Canada. I now live in Saskatchewan, in the capital, great city of Regina.
I thought they were going to pull it out there. They
Oh,
only
so
lost by the 8-point
close.
game. It was amazing last jam.
Yeah, first time ever playing Team Ohio as well. But now back into the action. Right in front of us, Vermont, North Carolina. And we have Uniscorn with the star for North Carolina and Pale Raptor for Vermont. And we have a forearm call on a Vermont blocker. Meanwhile, lead assessed to Uniscorn, now coming back into scoring range. Turn one, phenomenal O provided there by Killer Copperhead, opening up that inside lane. And that's something that North Carolina has been possibly a little inconsistent with, especially in their first game, was the O, was tackling the correct blocker to make the most impact.
Yeah, and you can see they've adjusted very well to that. Vermont had problems in that first game re-engaging with their pack, and that opened up a lot of opportunities for scoring for Maine, and they've kind of closed it down a little here, but we'll see how this goes with 21:44 left to go.
And a great reminder, Peter, that both these teams have skated already this morning, so it's kind of nice to see some of the adjustments they're already making. In that case, Princess Leia, putting a bit more speed on when she grabs lead jammer status. In this case, it was within 10 seconds already coming into score, but so is Vermont.
And that is Bertha Blue Blazes out there from Twin State Derby out of technically White River Junction, Vermont.
Yeah, Princess Leia out of Charlotte. Charlotte Roller Derby with lots of representation on Team North Carolina.
A good hit to the inside by Sarah Quill XR, and that's going to be a track cut on Slaya, and that is a power jam to Vermont.
And Slaya making the semi-long trek to the penalty box, which is between 1 and 2.
She's going to have to be careful. That's already her second jammer penalty. Remember, they've only got the 4 for this game. And there goes Blazes in. She's going to score her first 4.
Yeah, and Princess Leia, a very dominant jammer for North Carolina. But this is where the mental play comes in, right? You've got to sit there in the penalty box and assess how you're going to exit and make the most of it. Still plenty of time left in this jam.
And a high block assessed to, that is number 43.
That's Hawaiian Puncher. So that will give pack advantage to Vermont. The pack has slowed at least.
Good work up front by good O by Seroquel to get Bertha through, but on the outside, Slaya just sneaked by everybody.
Yeah, including her own blocker, Piglet, who saw her jammer come and say, oh, yeah, you can get by me on the outside. All right, now re-engaging the pack, both blockers in the straightaway into turn 3.
For Blaze, this is pass number 4 for Slaya, number 3. We'll see what they get at the end.
A really great effort by Vermont on that one.
They both got 3 on that last pass.
Ah.
A 15 to 11 point advantage in that jam to Vermont, closing the gap a little, 57-38 here to go with 19 and a half minutes roughly to go in this game.
So I love the stream here by New England Roller Derby. Shows you a really great look at the very start and how close that pack is as we start Jam 7 with the star for North Carolina's Blonde Crush.
And I believe that is Chickadee out there for Team Vermont.
Oh, and a high block call assessed to Blonde Crush, right as I said her name. So another power jam for Vermont, a chance to, well, get control of this jam possibly. Lead still hasn't been assessed.
And that is Chickadee out there jamming, and it looks like she did not. Ooh, back block call on Chickadee, so a jammer swap is going to be taking place.
And a full 2-minute jam. If you're keeping track at home, settle in. It's going to be a full 2-minute jam, and we're going to see the blockers really shine here as they have so far. As Blonde Crush tries to come up on that Vermont line. Getting work through the pack.
Yeah, there's an interesting here is Vermont only has 2 leads, but they're really not that far behind.
Not at all,
So far the story is the jammer penalties on North Carolina. They've got 3. Like as I said earlier, Slaya has 2.
A very similar story to what we saw in their first bout with Kansas, which cost them a game that really should have been theirs in a lot of ways. Had control of the jam and then lost it through penalties. Blonde Crush, though, already coming in, trying to work through the initial. So not even in scoring range yet. Only 26 seconds left in the jam.
Good work from Chickadee to stay in bounds, and that is her initial pass as well. So we saw almost 2 minutes worth of just
and a back block call on Blonde Crush to the penalty box. That is a hard pill to swallow there for North Carolina as we wrap up this jam. What an effort. I had said, Peter, this was going to be the blocker shining. That was the blocker shining. Let's take a look at this replay.
Yeah, she put her hand down as she went through on the inside line, but you can do that now and kept the rest of her body in to get through. Well done by Chickadee, but a good hit, too, from the North Carolina blockers. Thanks to Chad for that replay here on Nerd Derby. Pale Raptor is going to get the power start for Vermont here. Good choice to throw her out there.
Yeah, and the pack deciding, we're going to try to speed up, but Pale Raptor able to come up with a lot of strength on that North Carolina line, but Vermont's blockers now trying to create some space.
Good work.
Not really as effective. Great penalty killing by North Carolina. Pale Raptor still now being assessed lead.
Just as Crush is released from the box, but the Pale Raptor is in control of this jam.
And still has plenty of time, too, as Blonde Crush is getting caught up there on that Vermont wall. Really great focus by Vermont, as North Carolina, though, as well. That's the Antichrist drawing back Pale Raptor.
Ivory Towers had been sent to the penalty box a few seconds ago, about a minute to go in this jam, but Pale Raptor is in control.
And an effective star pass. I barely noticed that Uniscorn was wearing the pivot, so makes sense. Get some fresh legs out there. And that will be a 4-point jam for Vermont. Chipping away, only a 13-point differential. North Carolina with 57, Vermont 44. I am loving close games. Like, I'll just throw that out there already. It's every announcer's dream.
Oh, absolutely.
Calling a close game.
It makes it so much easier to call the game, too.
That being said, if you're a fan of North Carolina, you want them to keep extending that lead. And that's what they're going to try to do with Soko Rebel. Her first time wearing the star for this bout. Not her first time wearing the star today, though. And a multiplayer penalty assessed to Icebreaker.
Yeah, Snatch McCracken out for lead, but in front is Rebel, and that's going to force the call off, our first scoreless jam of the game. Of course, our penalty box is sponsored by Apex Skate Shops. Check them out right here at the venue if you're watching here, but if you're at home watching, check them out at apexskates.com.
And now we've got Princess Slayer with a star for North Carolina.
And I think it's Bertha Blue Blazes has the star for Vermont.
That's right.
Now she's like I said, a prominent jammer for TSD, but here for Vermont, she is doing pretty well, getting stuck a little bit. But both blocking cores just absolutely just killing it today. Both through.
Yes, and Princess Leia picking up lead, but yet not even a quarter track behind is Bertha Blue Blazes. It's the story of North Carolina. Even when they get control of the jam, they're not always able to capitalize all that much, but we'll see where that lands them this time. 3 points on the board for North Carolina and a big old 0 there for Vermont.
Penalty to the pivot. I can't see the number for North Carolina, but Vermont's got 2 in the box as well here, so both teams will be shorthanded to start.
It does seem like the penalty box has been a favorite place for people to hang out. I mean, the other thing is, as you get to know Derby a bit more, you also realize that not only do you have to adapt to the other team's style of play, as Uniscorn has clearly done, able to pick up lead quite quickly with a big pack advantage to North Carolina at that time. Uniscorn already coming out to collect points while Chickadee Wallop is caught up in her initial.
Yeah, and there goes Uniscorn through for the first 4 points of this game, but Chickadee has made it through on her initial pass.
And it looks like this time around the pack is trying to stay a bit more stationary. It's been interesting to see which jammers they like to run for and which ones they don't, because the fast-moving packs haven't really been advantageous either.
No, like I said, very quick gameplay, not just as far as the momentum of the game, but each jam. We've only had a couple of really slow ones, so the constant moving is causing both teams some trouble. But North Carolina has been able to hang on here up by 20.
Yeah, now an even 20 points ahead, 64-44, 12 minutes, 19 seconds left on the game clock as we are into jam number 12. And this is a 30-minute game if you're just joining us, so all the points, very important. Ooh. Pale Raptor assessed a forearm call, so one of the first times we're going to see North Carolina enjoying the power jam.
It's the first penalty on a Vermont jammer all game.
All right. Yeah, it is the first time. Thank you, Peter. Doing some stats on the fly for us. And it looks like Blonde Crush is coming in, hopefully getting some offense assistance there. A back block penalty assessed to Soko Rebel. It's just been in and out of that penalty box with skaters. And Vermont doing a fabulous job with a penalty kill, but a bit of a tough slide there, and that will cost number 20.
That's Seroquel XR.
Yeah, that's a direction of play call. And Pale Raptor now assessed a back block.
And she's pleading to her coaches. She's skated by, but not sure, but there's 4 more points on the board for Crush.
So we're seeing the tides change a little bit. You go from not having any jammer penalties to suddenly getting 2 in one jam. That's how it goes in this sport, that's for sure, as North Carolina looking for their second scoring trip through the pack, realizing she can call it. And we have a timeout called by Vermont, a timely one at that too, as we've passed the halfway mark. Well, quite a ways back actually.
Yeah.
So now we're entering that final quarter-ish of time in this game, final third.
Yep, so Beast, the coaches for Vermont, over talking to the skaters in the box for Vermont. Good, like you said, good timing for Vermont to call that timeout. They need to kind of reset, get themselves back into the right mindset here because they're not out of this game at 72-44. 10 minutes is still plenty of time. They've got to have some defensive stops, though.
And we do have some great comments as well. A New England Roller Derby Report would like to thank their production sponsor, Sociopath. And Sociopath is a skater-run business offering size-inclusive leggings and shorts designed to fit you with 7 different lengths and pockets. She is sure to have a style that works for your body. Team colors, custom prints, group discounts are all available. And they're also offering dozens of armband and helmet cover options. She's got you covered. Please see sociopath.ca/NERD for 10% off your next order.
So I just want to remind you that in wearing the white jerseys in this game is Vermont, and the odd color red is North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right, because this morning a very beautiful blue they were donning in their game against Kansas, in which they lost. That's why both these teams are here. They lost their first games of BOTAS. Looking to change that is Princess Leia picking up a lead for North Carolina.
And Raptor is about to come out of the box, and it is now out of the box for Vermont. A good hit there from Sarah Quill RX.
And we have a multiplayer block called on one of Vermont's own. So now they're getting into a bit of a penalty spiral. That's Felon of Troy.
That's her second time in the box. First time was as a pivot. Pale Raptor has met the back of the North Carolina pack and is not having any luck so far.
My goodness, though. Princess Leia having to do some fancy lateral work to get by that Vermont line. As North Carolina able to hold down Pale Raptor as well, still working through her initial.
And you can tell Raptor's a little tired here. This is the second jam in a row, 2 penalties, but we'll be able to take a break now. And we'll have an official timeout.
We're seeing some really great comments on our stream. It's so glad that you're here joining us. We love seeing all the strategy talk, especially from people who know these skaters even better than Peter, and myself.
Yeah.
I'm very honored to be calling for North Carolina. They're a fantastic team. I had a pleasure of visiting North Carolina last year when Greensboro Roller Derby hosted playoffs in Winston-Salem. That was the WFTDA playoffs.
Yeah, it's and again, I want to thank Bucksmont Roller Girls or Roller Derby for hosting this tournament. A wonderful tournament, the 9th year of this tournament. So it's good to see so many people coming in. I know it's still early on a Thursday. We're just barely hitting noon, and there is a large contingent of skaters and fans.
You're telling me it's still morning, Peter? All right.
Just barely.
Snatch McCracken with the star and with lead now for Vermont. And I'm trying to keep track of the North Carolina jammer. Oh, it's Uniscorn. And Uniscorn already in scoring position, passes by a number of hips. We'll see. There will definitely be points on the board for North Carolina.
Looks like 3 on the board for Vermont. Good job out of the timeout to get that.
Yeah, a lot of renewed energy. I mean, that's what you want out of your clock stoppages. You only get 1 apiece in these 30 minutes, plus your OR. Vermont is all out of clock stoppages, while North Carolina still has their team timeout and their OR. And if you're just joining us, North Carolina is in red, Vermont in white.
Bertha Blue Blaze is on the line for Vermont. I can't quite see who's out there for North Carolina, but she's being held up by Lady Dementor and Pumpkin. And there goes Blazes for the lead, her first lead of this game.
Woo! And a nice swift move trying to slow down Blonde Crush, but it's not happening. Both teams only with 2 blockers out on the line apiece, although it does appear the North Carolina pivot is trying to rejoin the line there. And in that case, looked like the speed definitely worked, but time is on North Carolina's side. Anytime those jams start running long, Peter, it is going to be advantageous for North Carolina. And in this case, 3 additional points brings them to 85, Vermont 47. And we are heading into Jam 16 with 8 minutes left on the game clock, rather.
A lot of jams so far, even though we've had 3 jams to the full conclusion. The other ones have been pretty short.
Yeah,
it's the hit it and quit it points.
Trying to be very strategic with only 30 minutes total gameplay. And Princess Leia able to get out with lead.
And Chickadee now out on her initial pass for Vermont, trying to catch up very quickly.
Vermont only with 3 blockers on the track, all spread out, but did a great job shutting down Princess Leia. Princess Leia able to pick up, is that 2 or 3? I'm just trying to see if I'm missing a... It's 3. Okay, so...
Yep. I thought maybe Vermont might have picked up a point there just at the end. The North Carolina blocker was back, but they declared that she had not passed her hips yet. So no points for Vermont there.
And really great work from the blockers who are working so hard to protect their own points, because very easily Princess Leia could have picked up 4 because there was a skater in the penalty box, but instead only picked up 3. And every point counts. And in this case, Uniscorn with the star now for North Carolina, getting recycled back. Pale Raptor with the star again for Vermont.
Trying to use that height, but trying not to get called for another penalty. 2 in the last time she was out there.
Yeah, and Wrecking Bell doing some great blocking defense there for North Carolina. And then number 9001, that's Don Quixote.
Ooh. Good move to the inside. Did a good little fake there to get 4 points.
Yeah, Uniscorn, yeah. And Uniscorn, shout out to her dad as well, who's definitely her #1 fan and who's in the building. I'm sure he's loving every second of this as well. Uniscorn trying to apex jump that line, not quite, but very impressive, pretty much just on the straightaway too. So not really an apex jump, a straightaway jump, more like it.
I think those are harder to get than the others. A good star pass has been completed for Vermont as Felon of Troy takes it from Raptor.
Oh, that was a textbook beautiful star pass, really. Clear eye contact connection between jammer pivot and a quick pass. Does slow things down on that jam.
And 96-47, they hold Vermont scoreless there, and you can see Felon right at the end there after she had received the star. Was hoping she'd get some points. She just had the aw shucks moment and just didn't quite get it.
And we are now getting ready to enter jam 18.
That was a 12-point pass for Uniscorn there, not an 8-point pass.
And we have Snatch McCracken. Woo! Out in front with lead and a forearm assist to Hell Hath No Fury. As Soko Rebel is trying things out here.
Good work to draw back the jammer there for North Carolina. Snatch McCracken has gotten through on a pass and caused a penalty on their pivot.
And I hear whistles blowing everywhere, Peter, because that's a bunch of skaters are just going back and forth. Both pivots now in the penalty box. Kitty Pryde for North Carolina as Snatch McCracken for Vermont already coming back to score some more.
And it looks like a star stash had been done, but not thrown back on the helmet yet. And Snatch McCracken just going to call it off there. Picks up 4 additional points, 8 on the pass, gets them over 50, get to 55. So 155 is our score here with 4 minutes to go by the time we start up Derby again.
What an effort by both these teams. Yeah, North Carolina crossing that century mark, or rather right on the dot, 100 even.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. We do have both pivots in the penalty box right now, so it's 3-on-3 for blocking strength, and it will definitely be to Blonde Crush's advantage. She was able to find the outside line no problem. As Bertha Blue Blazes slices through.
Yeah, that outside line, North Carolina is finding it pretty consistently here. And when it's not, they're just not going towards the middle. They're finding those edges, and they're finding those little windows and just making it through. But Blazes does pick up 2 on the end of that jam for Vermont. 104-57 the score.
And as Peter mentioned, coming up right after this is the final 30-minute bout of BOTAS. Maryland taking on my own, I guess I'll say, Team Saskatchewan. That's where I hail from. And it's Princess Leia out with lead. The speed in which North Carolina is grabbing the leads shows that they found their rhythm.
Yeah.
Definitely, which is why I would have loved to see a second half against Kansas, because I think they probably would have taken it having made those adjustments. But
yeah,
so it is.
That's how it laid out. Everyone's had on the same page this morning. Chickadee with the star for Vermont, trying to get it a pass through, but well done. A little bit everywhere.
Yeah,
That's an icebreaker for Vermont.
Yeah, icebreaker, exactly where you need to be when you want to slow down an apex jump, doing just that. We are coming at you live from Hatfield, Pennsylvania, wherever you're joining us. And as that jam wraps up, that's jam 20. It's 8 points on the board for North Carolina, 8 more, so 112 to Vermont's 57. North Carolina, a higher seed for sure. They came in seeded 11 and lost out to seed 15 Kansas to get themselves in this spot.
You know, like I said, they've adjusted well. I think some of them were here to watch that Vermont Maine game, so they kind of saw a little bit what was going on. So here we go back to Derby as Snatch McCracken on the line for Vermont, but there goes Uniscorn for North Carolina.
And we have penalties being called aplenty, this time again to Don Quixote.
And Uniscorn threw on her first scoring pass. Snatch coming up to it. We'll see if they play this the long point here, because the period clock is less than the jam clock. So we'll see how North Carolina plays this out.
It might make the most sense to just keep going. I mean, not only are you in control, you can run it out. You've secured your win. North Carolina's definitely moving on the victor here.
And it's not like in regular league play where the point differential means anything. This is all about winning your games.
Yes, it's about winning your games. And I think that's why we're also sometimes seeing some different strategies come into play with how clocks are run. I kind of like it. BOTAS gives you that just a little bit of a different edge to Derby.
Just the play to play. I know it's about fun, but also representing your team and your state in your leagues.
And it looks like North Carolina decides to call it off, and I think they're going to want one more jam, because there will be, I'm assuming they're going to be using one of those timeouts.
There's about the 2 second difference between game and play down clock.
Ooh. I keep knocking my mic.
And it does appear that they're gonna wait and take that timeout right at the last minute.
All right, so in that case, why don't we take a quick look ahead to where this will land everyone's teams, because I know we got fans from both who are tuning in. So taking a look at our little bracket here, Vermont will go on to play. So this is game 5 already? My goodness, game 5. So let's go take a look. They will be playing tomorrow again at 3:30 p.m. We don't know who they'll be playing against, of course, but make a note, tomorrow 3:30, that's of course Eastern time. And then North Carolina will go on to play.
First thing tomorrow morning.
Wow. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, that's my thinking noise. Yeah, first thing tomorrow.
And they'll play the loser of Massachusetts, Ohio.
Okay.
And that Massachusetts-Ohio game is going to be a really good one,
It's
especially if
very
Ohio
close.
played like they did earlier.
Yeah, Ohio beating Team Saskatchewan. So, feeling that one a little bit. But no, very a phenomenal effort by Team Ohio on that one. And back into the action right now, North Carolina taking on Vermont. And it's Vermont. Bertha Blue Blazes in control now of this jam. Could be the final one of the bout.
I imagine they'll play it long just to get that gameplay in and some strategy for the game for tomorrow.
Seeing some of the best team blocking from North Carolina in this final jam here. Hell hath no fury trying to slow things down, but it's going to be called.
Yep, Blazes calls it, and that's going to bring them to an unofficial total of 65 here. Wow, that was quite the game. Like I said, the unofficial score is 124-65 North Carolina. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our potential MVPs.
Well, we will do that in just a moment, because we're gonna all the announcers, including the in venue, get together and talk. But some outstanding players for sure. Wrecking Bell, I don't think I even said her name enough for the work that she was doing out there blocking core for North Carolina. Kitty Pryde got into a little bit of penalty trouble, but overall very solid pivot for most of it. And then Princess Leia Uniscorn, as always, coming out with so much energy and power and setting the tone for the speed, which in turn helped them create such a big point differential.
Yeah, on the blocking side for Vermont, Icebreaker, Pumpkin Carver, and Sarah Quill had some really big hits, but on the jamming side, that was really a jump for Snatch McCracken. She had a better game than the last, and she got lead about 75% of the time in this game, guessing roughly, but that's about what it is, and she scored a good chunk of their points.
All right, so Peter, and myself, Deathnella, are going to just quiet down for a little second. We're going to discuss MVP. Stay tuned, because we're going to tell you who they are in just a moment. All right, thanks. Welcome back. I'm Deathnella, joined by Peter, and we're just wrapping up all the action from Vermont v. North Carolina. North Carolina taking the win 124-65, and the MVP for North Carolina is Hawaiian Puncher. Yeah.
Well deserved. Some really good recycles, some really big hits here in turn one. And for Vermont, our MVP is going to be Bertha Blue Blazes as the jammer. Really fought hard, got some good points there, especially right at the end, and good job from Team Vermont.
Well, thank you all. Stay tuned. We're going to wrap this up, but coming up next, of course, is Team Maryland taking on Team Saskatchewan, and you are watching New England Roller Derby Report.